Hello, everyone, and welcome to Teen Ninja Gaming. Here we unite gamers and small developers so that together we can do big things. I am Matt. Today I have with me Roman, the creator of Leif's Adventure, Netherworld Hero. Go ahead and say hello, Roman.
Hey everyone, I'm totally happy to be here with you, Matt. Thanks for having me. For me, it's this evening. I don't know, actually. It's noon where you are, right? Or something?
Yeah, it's 125 right now. So, and I'm
All right.
guessing it's somewhere around like 8 or 9 there.
Yeah, it's exactly between 8 and 9, and it's
Nice.
getting dark. It's dark outside.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we don't want to keep you too long. You'll probably want to get to bed at some point. So let's go ahead and
It's not that late. That's totally
no, I
fine. That's
know. Right. You're a programmer. You stay up late nights anyway, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. Although I would call me more like an artist. I mean, I know how to code now, obviously, but what I learned is graphic artist or illustrator stuff like that. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's not. It doesn't make a difference. I'm up late quite often. Yeah.
Nice. Well, everybody, Leaf's Adventure is a game where you play as a hero with his little ghost sidekick, and you can solve puzzles. You defeat enemies. You get some upgrades, some really cool weapons, and a lot of other really neat stuff. It's actually you can get the demo right now on Steam. It is available, and try it out for yourselves. This is a pretty cool thing. I'm happy to have you on here, Roman.
Thank
We
you.
actually, and we were talking a bit before the stream. You said something about loving mountain biking, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it's too bad you can't do it anymore because of where you live. But tell us some of the more fun things that you've done going mountain biking. Like what do you love about mountain biking the most? Because I know nothing about it.
All right. I think the cool thing about mountain biking is that it combines two major things. It totally uh, asks your physique. If you're going uphill, it really demands a lot of or it creates a lot of sweat. Let's keep it like that. And but if you're going downhill, it's really a technical, very interesting challenge. So you always want to find the fastest route down, and yeah, it's so you really your eyes going in front of you and scanning the way, what rocks are there, what routes are there, and trying to find the
Mm.
fastest way. And I think the combination between those two, so it's like a physique thing, but it's also like a mental thing, and combining both is pretty cool in my book.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. That sounds exhilarating, actually, especially if you're going really fast downhill. Might almost seem scary at first, but it probably just like really pumps up your, you're getting close to that danger thing. Does it
Yeah,
just excite you that way?
it is a thin line. I mean it is like an adrenaline rush, that's for sure. And it's a thin
Yeah.
line. I had some accidents. I have a little scar at my chin where I one day just woke up in the woods and I just didn't know, okay,
What happened?
I
Oh,
guess,
no way.
yeah, I guess I was mountain biking, but I don't know where I am. So I was looking around and thought, okay, I just took my bike and kind of moved along a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I recognized the area. So, all right, I'm here. And then I just find home. And then, yeah, I just had I don't know what it is, but it just hurt my head. And like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but it wasn't that bad in
Dang.
the end. But it is a fun story to tell. That's for sure.
You were mountain biking and you just
Yeah,
woke up.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh,
I mean, I must have passed
that's
out
wild.
for a while. I
Yeah,
don't know for how long, but yeah, I must have passed out and then
that's crazy.
woke up and
You must have like hit your chin pretty hard to like rattle your
yeah,
brain and like pass
yeah,
out. That's
yeah,
nuts. That's pretty cool.
yeah. But I'm happy that n nothing really else happened. So I mean, there are
Yeah,
really bad stories about it as well.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm
You got
totally happy.
lucky. We're glad you're
Yeah,
here though. We're glad you're here.
yeah.
Um,
Me too.
so we have a pretty cool game coming out. all because you're still alive. That's awesome. Um, and you have more to offer than that because you're a pretty cool guy. You know, you have a beautiful
Thanks.
wife. And
Yeah,
she
she's
needs you
somewhere up
too.
there.
Yeah, she's up there. You got a picture of her too, so everybody knows. All the women out there, he is taken. He is spoken for. Let's
Good
see.
that good that we have discussed
Yes, it's
that.
good. It's good. We don't want to, let people down. Let's see. Uh, drop it quickly, so that it's not as painful later. Um, tell us, tell us about your childhood. Where did you grow up, Roman?
Yeah, I grew up in Switzerland in a very tiny village. I think we're around 1,000, not employees, but inhabitants. And so I spent a lot of time in the forests and at the lake or stuff like that. So it was pretty peaceful and a nice childhood, I'd say. And then I moved to Hamburg, so the north of Germany,
Mhm.
into the city, and that's where I live now. And I moved around 20 when I was 20, and just because I wanted to make games. So I
Mm.
kind of left my not my home village, but also my home country and moved to Germany to make games because back then in 20, it was the year 2000, yeah, there was just no one making games in Switzerland, so I kind of had to move somewhere else to do that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I I know that. What was it? We had a group of people from the Meridian Islands, from the
Hmm.
Meridian, on the show like a while back. They
Hmm.
were the creators of Project. Oh gosh, my brain. It's been a long time. Like this was
Hmm.
back when Faith was still on the show. I think it was like our third or fourth person, but like they had no game development there either. Like there was nothing
Hmm.
going on. Like there was just a group of guys. They were all friends. They're like, let's make a game together. So they were the only ones.
Cool.
And so they were the first game developers on in the Meridian, all
Wow,
deciding to
that's
work
pretty
together to
cool.
do it. Yeah, it was kind of neat. So yeah, it's I get that. Like when there's not a large group of people that are doing the same job as you, it's kind of hard to find work. It's hard to find like teams to work with you. You kind of have to do
Yeah.
things over the internet if you are. So that's kind of neat. You like it there in Hamburg?
Yeah, it's a absolutely beautiful city. The only thing that I miss here are mountains because I
Yeah.
can't do mountain biking. That's a way I would turn around. But yeah, I think time has also really changed because back then
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2000, there was just no way that you could just start a business out there. Just really there was a lot of money involved because when you make a
Mm-hmm.
game, you either really had to have a publisher or you have to publish it yourself, but that meant back then that you had to print boxes, print or burn your CD-ROMs and stuff like that somewhere. You had to
Right.
ship the stuff over here, and you had like a huge storage space somewhere where you deliver it to your, I don't know, your outlets and stuff like that. So there was a lot of work and money involved. So either yeah, you had that, or there was just no way that you could just yeah do what I do today, just have your PC and start working on a game. That was just not possible back then.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. So yeah, I remember that. I remember growing up and buying all the boxes games over at like Toys R Us or any of the
Yeah.
other outlets. I remember that's when I first bought one of my first like building sims. I don't know how many building sims you've bought, but I remember buying Tropico
Oh,
specifically.
right.
I
That's a
fell in
German
love with that game.
game.
What?
I think that's a game from Germany, actually. I think.
Yeah,
I'm not totally sure, but I think so. So what was your
so good.
first game that you can you remember your first game you bought?
Me? The
Yeah.
first game that I bought. My goodness. Um, personally bought. Let's see. Maybe it was probably on the Nintendo 64. It was a time that I probably went to the GameStop and I would trade in some stuff. That's a it's always been a scam. Anyway, just sell your games on Craigslist. So I think I traded in a bunch of games and I bought maybe it was maybe it was Majora's Mask.
All
It
right.
might have been that. I think.
Yeah.
That's it's hard to
Well,
remember. It's been a
it's
while.
re it's really the same for me. I really can't actively remember. I'm pretty sure that I have bought a few PC games, but the game that I have the fondest memory, or that is far in the past, is like Mario 64. That that's where all started more or less, because my brother and I, we we collected, we spared money, so we can buy the N64 when it comes out,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
still can remember that days as it would, yeah, it was yesterday. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
And then when the day was, I went into the store where we pre-ordered the N64, and they hadn't it, so it wasn't there. So I'm like, oh my gosh! And so I went through the whole city and actually found another one, and then I just bought that and was the happiest kid in town, I guess. So
Right?
that's and then Mario 64 was within that bundle. So I just call that my first game now. I'm pretty sure I have bought, I don't know, some flight sim or something before, but there's just no real memory to that.
Yeah, I see. I got the Nintendo 64 as a Christmas gift. So it was,
Ooh, that's
yeah, for
nice.
my parents. So it
Hmm.
was, and it came, either it came with a couple games or they gave me a couple games with it. I remember Banjo Kazooie was one of them, I believe, and
Hmm.
then classic.
Yeah.
And Star Fox. I remember having Star Fox
Oh,
64 on
yeah.
there. That was ah,
Do a barrel roll.
dual barrel roll. What a game. What a game. So, all right. That's awesome. So, talking about first games, what was the first game that you fell in love with, man?
It has to be Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. It
Nice.
really,
Good
I
choice.
I know it was Christmas time, and I think, yeah, my brother and I, again, we bought it together, and I think it was really Christmas Eve. So we're in Switzerland back then, so we had, I think it's a bit different than in the USA. So you
Hmm.
get your presents at the evening, and
Hmm.
then you're doing dinner and sitting together and
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then when everything was over, it was already late. We just went in our room and started the game, and we were just happy. I think that's the perfect expression for that. And I think also with that game, the idea kind of started to trying to work in the industry, because back then I can remember Nintendo had their own, or they started the university, like I think it's called DigiPen. I don't know if it still exists, but it is a university owned or founded or something by Nintendo.
Hmm.
And this kind of made me realize that, well, if you can study it, then there's a profession.
Yeah.
Creating games is a profession, obviously,
Right.
because, and from that day on, yeah, that was kind of my goal. At first, it was my goal to go to DigiBen, but then I found out how much money this costs, and this dream died quickly.
Right. Oh no.
But yeah, there are always a lot of ways to roam, or that leads to Rome. So I found my own way creating games. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I actually see some contrasts, some not contrasts, some similarities between some Zelda Ocarina of Time and your game. You have to like puzzle solve while beating the boss, like figure out ways to beat the boss. How do I do it? Oh, like there's a spider boss and it comes out
Mm,
and like there are the different pillars on the ceiling. It's
mm,
like I know based on using the character that's like the side character, the ghost,
yeah,
that whenever there's a blue thing, I can break it. So you try and drop the pillars onto the spider, and that's I'm like that's kind of cool. And I never really thought about it, but
cool.
that's a similar aspect to having like abilities and then figuring out how to beat a boss as you would
Yeah,
in Zelda. So that's kind of cool.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've played, I think I would say, yeah, no, I can't really say how many games, or how big the percentage of the games are that are from Nintendo that I've played, but
Hmm.
there are a lot of Nintendo games that I have played. So, and I think Nintendo has they have their own way doing game design. It's
Hmm.
not. completely different to everybody else, but they really try to teach player during the
Hmm.
game. So it's seldom you really have to, I don't know, learn something before you start a game. I mean, there's this
Yeah.
typical example from Super Mario, the very first screen with the where you learn how to hit the question mark block. Because I mean, back then there was just it was just a strange thing to hit a block with your head or the
Yeah.
fist or whatever. And there's I think Miyamoto explains it how they built that very first screen. So you try to jump over the first enemy and then you hit the thing by accident and then you oh right something happens.
Hmm.
And I really also try to kind of work that way that I try to kind of give player hints before they really need it, so they can play with it with a new element before it really is demanded that you have mastered it. So
Hmm.
yeah, if you had that vibe in my game, I'm happy because then at least something kind of worked out. That's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, and I feel like whenever you deal with gaming, it's going to be unique in the sense that you're going to have two different groups of people. You might have people that are new to gaming, and it could be very difficult for them to get into a game if there isn't all this stuff to teach the player as you go. And then there are the people that are like long-term gamers that have game sense that know these different things, and they actually could get frustrated by having
Yeah,
too long of a learning period. It's like, this is taking too long. I already know all this stuff. When is the game gonna start? You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
a
absolutely.
balance that you have to make, and it's kind of a fine-tuned balance if you want to hit the mark with the majority. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
Hmm.
I mean, speaking of Nintendo, that's what they stumbled over with the Skyward Sword, right? Where
Hmm.
the intro was just too long and
Hmm.
uh, they just explained everything several times, and people really hated it.
Yeah.
And so they went the other route with Breath of the Wild and just had no intro more or less at all. So you went
Hmm.
out of this cave where you woke up, and then yeah, the game was there. You can approach the final boss of the game if you want. So
Yeah.
that was a pretty stark contrast there, and
And
with
it
that,
won awards, and it, right,
yeah,
like game, yeah,
absolutely,
it was
yeah,
a fantastic idea. I love that, right? Like, for if it's made for gamers specifically, that's another very like niche thing to try and do and see if it works. Because
yeah,
even if you make it for people who already have game sense and game knowledge and are able to do those different things and figure things out very quickly based on how it plays compared to other games they've played, then in that sense, you can actually easily make it a game that lots of people will love, because all of the people who are gamers that are looking for a game like that, they're like, ooh, this does really, really well, and it's a fun game for them.
yeah,
So they convince other people to play it, and therefore they will teach them, oh, yeah, yeah. So when you do this, this happens. So if so, you'll want to press the button longer, or like
yeah,
reach a certain way, and then they teach each other, right? That's part of
yeah,
the fun
right,
of playing games, is teaching one another, and
absolutely,
it's a kind of a community thing almost. And that's kind of what people loved when they were kids, right?
yeah,
Is getting together
absolutely,
and being like, oh wow, there's this hidden thing. Oh, I need to go home and play that and try it out right away.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah, good times before the internet, more or less, where
Yeah.
where the main resource of information for games was the schoolyard. And
Yeah.
that was definitely like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the tutorial, I think I had the same questions for Leaf's Adventure as well. So how going am I going to introduce player to the game, and how much will I explain everything to the game? I mean, I have a 2D side scroller. I mean, it has a twist that is maybe new to most of people, but then on the other hand, the base is quite well known. So I really decided to make everything uh, not mandatory. So all the explain text is you just can run by if you say, "Oh, I don't care what you have to say," it
Yeah.
just run by it, and yeah. So I really try to find that line that works for both groups that you described just before. That people that need the information, then the information is there. But if they say, well, I don't want to get
Hmm.
that explained 100th time
Right.
because I have played games before,
Yeah.
then just they just can run past. So I hope that will work
It
for most
it
players.
it worked great for me. I can say that. Like
Oh, you
it.
haven't played the tutorial because it's not part of the demo. That's another
Oh.
story. So
Okay.
because
So that's
the
interesting.
demo part, I might quickly explain that the demo part is after, let's say, 1 or 2 hour in the game. So
Hmm.
you start at a very different area, and you have like a tutorial level before, and then you are in your village, and you meet your father and your brother and stuff like that, and then the village gets attacked, and then
Oh.
something else happened. I want to tell everything right now, and then you stumble through a portal and you end up where the demo begins. So the
Hmm.
game will not start where the demo starts. The demo is part of the later game, or well, not the later game, but a bit into the game,
Yeah.
and that's why there is not really a lot explained in the demo. That was a similar challenge actually, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the real tutorial.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because like I started playing the game and you see like there's the little ghost guy and like I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I didn't figure out that you could even move him until a little later.
Yeah,
And then I'm like,
yeah.
oh, that's actually interesting. Why would you need to do that? And I'm like, oh, I can actually collect the things that I couldn't reach before.
Hmm.
I could have been doing that beforehand. But I figured it all out on my own, right? I didn't have to have all of the tutorial stuff. So it was kind of nice. I
Yeah,
was kind of just jumping into the action and figuring it out
yeah.
as I go. So it was kind of cool. I actually enjoyed that.
Cool.
That's kind of neat. Um, oh, we kind of skipped over inspirational figures. So tell me about that. Who's been the most
Yeah,
inspirational figure in your life up to this point?
I think actually this was or is quite a hard question because I think I I'm not it's not a typical thing for me to have someone that I think I really admire the person and I want to be like him, or I think stuff like that is cool. But I can remember, so going back to the Ocarina of Time story, and I know that I was, yeah, I was admiring or looking up to Miyamoto back then because
Mm-hmm.
I just he makes the games that I love most. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it was back then, and I wanted to do what he did. So I wanted to create games and stuff like that. So
Right.
I looked up what he studied, for example, and stuff like that. So I think um, he was definitely influential, or more, his work was influential. So I would maybe pick him as most influential. But then on the other hand, I have met so many people in my life and I had so many influences.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to say. I mean, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
tough question.
Yeah, I mean it's always the toughest question, right? I've noticed that as
Mhm.
soon as I added it, it's like it hits right at somebody's heart, right? It's like
Yeah,
what moves you, right?
yeah,
What inspires you. So
yeah.
it's kind of like you have to work on that emotional side when like typically you're a game developer, you're not working on your emotional side all the time and you're really good at focusing on like the breaking
Mhm.
down of things. And it's like, so who in my life who in life actually gave me motivation to go forward and do these things or do
Mhm.
anything, right? Or like gave
Mhm.
me what gives me drive, like says something. It's like, yes, I agree with that. And it's like every single time. So people are like, oh no, I was worried about this question each and every time. And it's fine, you know. A lot of people say it's their parents, and that's good. You know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Your parents are a huge aspect in people's lives. And then some people, like you, will mention a game developer, and it's like, yeah, that's really cool. Like you see somebody that's doing something amazing, and like you're like, wow, that's something special. I feel motivated to do just like they got up and did, you know. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really neat. I like that. I like that a lot, and it it speaks to a person, like
Mhm.
your level of motivation, your level of how you view other people, and it humanizes everyone, right? To think about
Yeah.
how you were inspired by someone else. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's cool.
Yeah,
um,
I think it is a good question, especially yeah, if you kind of look behind it, that's what you just did. I think that really totally explains it very well. It's not simply naming someone, but it is much more behind it. That's really a good point. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I was actually surprised. You're the first person to say Miyamoto, and I was like, man, I'd think that more people actually thought of him, but maybe not. There's a lot of developers out there, so
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe it's also the age, right? I mean, I'm short over 40, and I think if you would ask someone right now, what is your game favorite game developer? I think Miyamoto is not anymore in the, I don't know, top three or something. And
yeah.
he used to be in there for, well, decades. But I think he didn't step down, but he really went to the background. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
most people just they know different game designers like Kojima or yeah,
Yeah,
others.
for sure. Yeah. So we know what drew you into game development. Let's talk about how did the idea of the game come about? Because that's interesting. It's a very unique style of game. I mean,
Mhm.
having the secondary character that you also control and all of that. So tell us a little about that.
I think that's a tough question actually as well,
Hmm.
because um, the game had a quite, I'd say, it had an interesting story how it came to be, or it's
Mm-hmm.
maybe interesting is the wrong term, but when I've worked in games development for 15 years before I started this project.
Right.
And so I was illustrator or concept artist and stuff like that. So I knew a lot about visuals and how they are created. But I
Mm-hmm.
also, so I was aware that the biggest challenge will be doing all the coding part. So I didn't want to go uh, taking too many risks in that area. So I really wanted to make a game that I enjoyed playing. That was the most important thing. And
Mm-hmm.
the others, it should also be manageable for me to do. And first, it so I went with the idea to doing a 2D side scroll because that kind of keeps it a bit smaller. And then, but when I started learning more and more, I just didn't want to keep it a simple side scroller. So I wanted to have my own ideas into the game, and
Mm-hmm.
I learned new stuff, and I wanted to integrate it into it. And so at one point, the secondary player came into the game, and then at one
Mm-hmm.
point, the weapon system came into the game, and so it really evolved. It was like an iterative process, which is um, in a standard game development environment, it's not a good idea because you never have a scope of your game, so you never know how much money will I need to get that game done,
Yeah.
and you never know when the game will be ready,
Right.
which is still an issue for me, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so long story short, the game changed, not really changed a lot, but it evolved a lot during the development, and the game how it is a bit due to the fact that I started very small with a very little knowledge, and yeah, I learned a lot during the development. So the next game will be totally different, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So it's kind of like it's kind of just evolved into what it is.
yeah,
You just
absolutely.
you just wanted a 2D game that you could build and have fun building, and then you're like, I I can do more. I can do a little more.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of
exactly.
cool.
There's maybe one other story to it, and it also has a co-op mode to game, so you can play it with a friend
Very cool.
or your parents or your kids or whatever. And there's a special twist to the co-op mode because I have a few friends or people just around me that are not gamers, so they haven't played games a lot or at all in their
Hmm.
past. And whenever I play or try to play games with them, they always say, no, 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 I would just hold you up. If we play together, I would hold you up. I don't want to play with you. I would die every 2 seconds, and then that wouldn't be fun. So I thought, how would should a game look like that people like them could also play without fearing to die? Because the thing that you die in games is quite, it's really a fundamental thing, that you have health and you lose your health, not in for all games for sure, but for a lot of games. So, and when all health is lost, you're dead and you have to start over again. So in my co or in the co-op mode of Leaf's Adventure, the ghost, it just has no health system. So
Ah,
it's really important for the game. So it's not really that you say, well, the guy that has no idea about games can play that because it's not important at all. That's not the
yeah,
case, but
yeah,
there's just no health system, and there's no way that um, he can make the life of the other player pretty hard. That's definitely a thing, but so he can be in the way of the other player,
right.
but there's just no, there should be no fear of kind of oh man, if I do everything wrong, then I'm gonna die. So that's how the co-op mode came to be, and I really wanted to have a game that can be played. So like a core or a hardcore gamer like myself or like you can
Hmm.
play with someone that is not used to play games every day. So
Yeah,
that was kind of the idea behind the co-op mode.
that's pretty cool. I never thought about that. So that's the point. So the ghost can will be played by another character if you wanted to play co-op.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Yeah,
I like that. That's cool.
cool.
I've never heard of anything like that before, so that's neat. Um, so wow, that's oh, I don't like I'm blown away by that. So I actually kind of lost where I was going with that. That's kind of cool. Let's see. We've got where are we? Oh, I keep on going to the wrong layout. What are the most difficult? So, what was the most difficult thing you've had to overcome in making this game? Oh, actually, before we move on, I was literally thinking about this as you were talking, and that's where I got lost. So when you were talking about the scale of a game, the scope of a game, not sure how much money, like that's all I was thinking about Team Cherry, and when they were making Hollow
Mhm.
Knight, you know, the funny thing is they had like very little money to start off, and they were like they they were at a point where they're like, we don't know if we want to keep like developing the game or not, and if we can, we would like to, but like how do we want to make sure it gets out, right? So they had
Mhm.
to literally they developed the game in a way so that at any point they can just take off certain points of the game and
Mhm.
just release it, right? And they just
Mhm.
added stuff in as it went, like
Yeah,
new
that's clever.
sections and stuff, and they would complete a section, and if they couldn't complete it, then they would just remove it, and then they
Yeah,
can continue and release it. I'm just like, that's a wicked way of doing it, you know what I mean?
absolutely.
and
So
and
it's
it took
agile.
yeah, and it took them a
Yeah.
long time to finish then, and now people are like freaking out, like, when is it coming out? When is Silk Song coming out? When's the next game coming out? And it's like they got all the money in the world, like they don't care,
Yeah.
like they're gonna
Yeah.
take their time and make it what they want to make it, and that's why it's kind of
Yeah.
like,
Pretty cool.
who knows when it's gonna come out, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's
funny.
actually I didn't know that story.
Hmm.
I mean I know Team Jerry, that's for sure, but I didn't know the story behind the game. That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah,
Uh, it's cool to hear that. Well, I mean, in the end, I know that all small teams before they have like a hit or something, they struggle with money. It's just the way it
yeah.
is. Game development always takes longer than that you plan, and yeah, longer always means more money, and
Hmm.
yeah, taking the route that you just talked about, it seems quite a clever approach actually. My approach is a bit different. I just try to find contractor work if money runs out. So I try to find work that kind of keeps me alive, and then I do some work and go back into game development again. Or
Yeah,
most of the time, I can do both, kind of combined in a certain way. And at this point in time, I'm pretty sure I will no, I will. I don't say I want to guarantee that the game will be finished because you never know what happens. But I'm pretty confident, and it will be out somewhere next year.
Yeah, that's funny because like your method is a dangerous method. You never know; it could just blow out of
Yeah,
proportion beyond what you could think. You know, what was it?
absolutely.
I had a guy on not long ago, Jitspo, who created the what was it, Goop Loop, as well as is
Mhm.
making the game called Fist of the Forgotten, and his plan was to make this game called Fist of the Forgotten, and he's like, it's just gonna be a simple side scroller, 2.5D game, and it's well, like 2-3 years in now.
Mhm.
And it's taken him forever,
Yeah,
and he's nowhere near finished. And
yeah,
he's like, it's always about 25% finished, and it's been that way since the first year.
yeah.
And
But really, for me, the question, when will you be ready to ship the game, or when will you be
Mhm.
done with your game? It's really the question I dislike the most. It
Yeah.
really, I mean, it's not, if we talk about the game like that, that's totally fair, but it's more like from friends or like my
Hmm.
parents, or I don't know, people that they just know me, and they don't know about game development at all. So they keep asking me for years now, when will your game be ready? And I
Well.
actually have the same answer, yeah, in half a year or whatever, or in a year or something. So it's really it is the same as with fusion reactors. They will be ready in 30 years. Whenever you ask when will fusion reactors be available, it will
Mhm.
be in 30 years. And it's kind of the same with Leaf's Adventure as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Latest Q2. I still keep Q1 next year, but latest Q2 it will be out, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Good to hear. That's exciting. So, would you like to answer what is was the most difficult thing you've had to overcome in making this game, or would you like to pull up the game first while you answer?
Um, yeah, no, I think I'm answering first, because I
Okay.
think the most difficult thing, actually, is still a bit surprising for me, but the most difficult thing was these things here. So the game is mainly developed for the Switch, and the
Hmm.
port is for the PC. And
Oh, that's
like
genius. S-
having the controls working, I mean, it sounds bizarre, but working for
Yeah.
this orientation, working on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I know that my code setup is not the best in that area. So that's obvious, because actually it shouldn't be such a huge deal, but it's like a cursed thing. Yeah, it still is a thing right now. I mean, it works totally on the Switch and on the PC, but if you want to change
Yeah.
something in it, it's not my friend. Let's keep it
Yeah, for sure.
let's keep it like that. So
That,
yeah, the whole control system, that it works for all the systems that the game is running on. It's also keyboard support and stuff like that. It's something that I have underestimated. Let's say it like that.
yeah,
But
that's pretty cool though. That it's for the Switch as well. So one person can have one controller and the other person can have the other one to play the game
yeah,
together.
exactly.
Co-op. That's
So
pretty cool. That's a neat
that
idea.
that is kind of also how the idea is born. So I mean, it is like a Switch concept, that you play the game and then someone joins you and say, well, okay, I want to play with you, and then you just um go to the co-op mode, and you
Hmm.
continue the game you have played before, but with two players, because
Yeah.
there's really literally no difference. So it's not that you just start another game that you play with your friends and you have your own game, but you just hop into the game and you just take over the control of the ghost
Hmm.
with the Joy-Con, or with the second controller, and then you
Yeah.
just play together. And you can, yeah, well, hop off again and jump back to single player mode.
That's
That's kind of the idea behind it.
yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, speaking about the most difficult things in the game, now that that's out of the way, would you like to share the game with us?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the right window here and the share button, and I'm trying to share my screen with you.
All right. Boop. There we go. We should have
So,
audio
can you
going.
confirm that everything is on your screen as well?
Yep. And I'll
Okay,
double
perfect.
check on Streamlabs. Looks good. We can hear
Cool.
everything and it's coming through good.
Nice. So, I'm just gonna start if the game lets me start. Oh, okay. Nope. No, that's
That's
all
weird.
right. So, I think so. I'm just going to show a bit of the demo, and I'm just going to skip this thing because it's just like an introduction. So the guy in that you see on the screen now, that's me. So he's even
Yeah.
wearing the same shirt,
He's a little
and
bulkier than you.
just yeah, and um, I just had the feeling that it would be nice to kind of, in some way, get in touch with uh, the players. I really like the idea to kind of introduce myself at least a bit.
Yeah.
So, and as I explained before, you wake up here, and in the final version of the game, you will be around 1 or 2 hours uh, in the game when you land in this area. And so this is your room. You have your storage space here where you can change uh, your armor set.
Right.
And yeah, she's just gonna welcome you here. I think no one wants to read it right now. But if you're interested what she has to say, yeah, just hop over and download the demo and check it out for
Yeah.
yourself. So,
Link in
but
the description. Link in the description, everyone.
nice, very good, very good. So I'm just gonna get out, and you will see that I have been into a giant tree, and
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of the world tree. So the game starts in a Nordic uh, village,
Mm-hmm.
and the Nordic mythology has that the giant world tree in it. And as you can see it visually, it has nothing to do with Nordic area, but I'm still keeping a few of these elements in my
Yeah.
game. I'm just gonna jump over to the map screen so you can see that there's the area with the giant tree in the middle, and 5 worlds are connected to it, and the one on the
So
left that is
is that your
prob
home initially? Because it's
exactly, yeah,
visible. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I'm
yeah,
like, that's
exactly,
got to be the home that he mentioned. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah. Exactly, and your main goal is to find a way to get back, because as I mentioned it before, that the village gets attacked, and you were sent out to find your brother, and your brother is like the typical hero guy. He's taller than you, he's stronger than you, and Leif is kind of looking up to him, and he wants to be a hero type as his brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of his first um, adventure, so to speak. So he has to find the brother to save the village. So people did not ask him to save the village, but he just have to look for his brother to save the village.
Yeah.
So this is the dojo, and actually, it's hard to speak and play at the same time. So I went to the wrong room. What I wanted to do is to equip myself a bit.
Yeah.
So I go to the weapon store.
So what I've noticed is that you have actually made the end of the hammer, that block, to be the hit point, right? So what's funny about that is that even if the hammer is down on the ground already, if a enemy runs into the hammer while it's already done its swing, it'll still get hit.
Mhm. Yeah, this is the hitbox is quite huge, actually. If I would show it to you, you might be amazed. So it's really the whole, also the stick of the hammer makes
Really?
damage, and it really stays there for a bit. Because if you kind of wouldn't do that, you would often have the feelings, I had a feeling that I hit that enemy and it
Right.
didn't really detect, and I really don't want to frustrate players. So I'm rather being a bit generous about stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of funny because like I was in the middle of a swing and then I actually fell down and then the hitbox was still there. So I could have hit
All right.
anything the whole way down with the stick and the hammer and everything. Anything that was in its path. It was
All
just
right.
wild to me.
I actually haven't had that. That's pretty cool because I haven't thought about it as well. So you stay there in that animation phase, and then you're just gonna kill everything along the way. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until like it happened. So I was deciding to swing while I was like on the edge of something and I was still moving, so it fell down and then the hammer just kept going down along with me.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So I
Yeah,
moved
so
up here to just quickly say anything or everything about Leaf's Adventure. That's a bit special as well because most often you go into your levels and you have a final boss at the end of the level. And that's the case with Leaf's Adventure as well, but there are also like 5 hidden mid-boss enemies. So huge boss encounters there are like hidden away. So if you just run through a level with closed eyes, more, so to speak, then you would just run past these special enemies. And this is the monster grove. So each stone represents one of these enemies. And whenever whenever you found one, those carvings in the stone here, they start to glow because whenever you beat one of them, they will drop a special weapon, and all monsters have 3 different weapons. So they have a spear and a long weapon and a short weapon, and whenever you find all of them, so all of the carvings would glow and something special would happen then. So that's maybe something that if you're really not paying a lot of attention, that's something that you might miss.
yeah. That's interesting.
I'm jumping into just one of the 2 portions of the demo. So this is one of the 5 worlds.
Right.
And the demo does not contain the whole area of this world. So as you can see, if you go to the left, there is stuff over there that you can't reach now. And you also can't reach the end of the level. So it's the demo contains 2 parts with 2 portions. So
I noticed this when I was playing too. Whenever those boulders are coming down, it's very, very quick, and that you don't really get much of a warning. It's just like, it's red now, it's come down.
Yeah, that's true. But you have, if you pay attention here, you have those reddish markings at the top.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh,
it's
right.
kind of like the red, and then it immediately comes down during the red animation. So it was kind of like one of those things where I was like, can't really reach it in time. Like I just didn't feel like I got enough of a warning.
All right. So I have to change the value there a bit to keep a bit more fairness in the game. This just a very quick example of what I was talking about. So these platforms in this demo, if you would play the game normally, you would have encountered them before, but in this demo, they're the first time that you see them. So they're here twice, and nothing happens if you fall down. But the next time, it would be painful. So this is what I kind of speak before.
I actually didn't go into this room when I played. So, the first time I ran into one, it dropped me to my death. I was like,
all right.
oh, okay. So, Don't do that.
So you had to learn it the hard way. Yeah,
Yes.
actually, this is one of the hidden areas. There are quite a lot of them. But yeah, I'm astounded that that there was no other platform before. But well, that can be just and yeah, I'm playing here, but maybe one thing that needs to be explained whenever I want to play the ghost character, I'm just pushing one button and then
Yeah.
the controls go to the ghost character. And so the interaction between two characters is totally seamless.
Yeah.
Or
It's
not the
pretty cool.
interaction, but the switching between the two characters. And there are a lot of occasions where the Leif is kind of standing on a platform, maybe going up or down or to the side or something, and then you have to interact with your secondary character while doing that.
Right. Right.
And you mentioned that you love story games, and it's the same for me. So I really like to have at least some story in the game that keeps you motivated, keeps you pushing forward, gives you a reason to advance, and that's why I totally wanted to have a story in my game as well. And the story is yeah, I use cutscenes like the ones you've just seen before to bring the story forward. So once in a while, in between the levels, or sometimes also just in the level, there will be cutscenes to bring the story forward.
So I noticed that later, after I finally figured out how to use that character, it would be best to jump on that platform and then use the ghost to turn it on for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really a small way to kind of exactly teach this thing, that you maybe rather use the ghost to do stuff that you can do with the main character as well. So that's what you mentioned. I could be here, hit the thing with my hammer, but it is easier to just do it that way.
Yeah, because then
Yeah,
I would have to worry about, the thing running off without me. Otherwise.
exactly. Yeah, maybe the first time this is just what will happen, but then you will figure it out eventually.
That's interesting. It almost looked like you wall ran for a bit. I know that if you are
Right.
touching the wall, it looks like you slow down. It's like you're holding onto the wall as you're slipping.
Yeah,
So,
but wait a second. I need another wall to kind of demonstrate that. No walls here.
no.
So, okay, now I'm going
Yeah.
down. Oh, here's another. No, not gonna. Just gonna drop down. So I think over here's.
Okay, you didn't
Well,
quite run it. Yeah.
you can get up a bit. That's very helpful to do
Oh,
wall
yeah,
jumps.
yeah.
And you will eventually learn multi wall jump, because right now you just can do one wall jump, and then
Right.
you will be able to chain after each other, well, as many wall jumps as you can.
Oh, that's neat. Nice.
I always try to kind of fill in other characters into the game. So this level, it would totally work without that bird kind of showing the way. I mean, you're coming from the left and you're heading to the right. I think everyone would be able to do it without the bird. But I
Right.
kind of like ideas like that, that there's yeah, a living, breathing world around you that kind of interacts a bit with you.
Yeah.
And so this is
sure.
just one example for that. And the other funny story is, so that skeleton guy, he didn't always have a lamp on his belt.
Huh.
But then I
Okay.
thought it would be cool to be able to see him better. So I gave him a lamp on a belt as well. And another thing is, he dropped his sword, and you can pick up all the weapons that are dropped in the game. So all the weapons enemies use, you just can pick them up. and use them by yourself.
Right. It seems like all of the weapons have a bit of durability. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So you have this sword icon on the right of the screen, and whenever I hit something,
Yeah,
this
I see some of it came
meter
off.
decrease a bit.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Took a little damage.
So you mentioned it before. If everything or if anything is blue, then there's almost certain a way that you can interact it with Ghost.
Right. Hmm.
So I'm just keeping collecting this stuff because this can be used later to unlock challenge levels. So there's a Tower of Challenge in the hub area, and you can trade in these coins against these or for these small challenge levels.
Right.
And here's another example. Here's a spider egg, and if I go close with the ghost, nothing happens, and I could just destroy it with the ghost, and all will be fine. I think it would get some hearts. But if I get too close with the main character,
Right.
then yeah, the
Gotcha.
spider comes out. So there are a lot of stuff like that where it makes just more sense to use the ghost for certain things. Oh, I think this is where you died first, right?
Yes, that's exactly where I died
Okay.
first. I was about to say that.
Yeah, I think then this floating island thing should be over here. That would make sense because here you fall down to this. And here's another thing that is interesting.
Well, I mean,
You
if
might,
if the tutorial was in the game, also that's cool. If the tutorial was in the game, that's the first thing that you run into. If you run into it there, like that makes sense. So if I run
yeah.
into it here, it made sense that I would have fallen and died. But you know,
Yeah, that's exactly the case. I mean, there's a part of this level before the demo portion starts, and there are a lot of these platforms before, so
right.
you would know by then. Yeah, I wanted to explain what the fox is. Maybe you do remember that there was a fox statue in the Monster Grove, and
do.
so the fox is like a guide to find these monsters. So he will
Ah,
give you a hint
I see.
where to look for these monsters.
Interesting. So, um, so those things unlock special like bosses and stuff, or special challenge levels. You're saying
Mhm.
challenge levels? Okay. So, is there any other use for them? Because like when I saw them, I just presumed that they must be for like some kind of skills or something like that.
Mhm.
I wasn't really sure. So it's just for challenge levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Actually, I have an idea to use it for weapon repair as well. So if
Ah,
I go to my
interesting.
inventory, you can see if I switch to the weapons that this one is almost, well, it's more than a half broken, and I
Yeah.
am not sure if it will make it into the game because it's a feature that is, yeah, I came up with the idea not long ago, and I at one point in time I said I will not implement more stuff.
There we go.
But I still like the idea, and so I don't know, maybe it will find a way into the game as well.
Right. Okay.
So this is the first, no, it's not really the first level because the first level is the snow area, the Nordic area. But this is the first level where you have both characters. Because when you start the game, you don't have your ghostly friend sidekick.
Right.
Um, you will meet him in the traversal between the worlds.
Okay.
And so this is the first level that you have both characters. And so this is where you will find this first hidden monster. So
Right.
it's not
The
really
spider.
hard hidden. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's just behind the door, and you've seen me before just opening it with this switch before. But
Right.
others, if you if you would play it without knowing that, you would just maybe just passing by. You would just advance straight ahead, and
Yeah.
so that's why kind of the foxes help you. If you really look for these ancient monsters, then this is a good tool to find them.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I like that. I had to get used to some of the timing initially, but
Yeah,
what could you jump on that if you had to?
yeah,
Block over
actually,
here on the end.
yeah, actually, that's the idea. I'm not performing very good, but that's the idea that you kind of rest on top because if the spider
Okay, so you can't
starts
just on those though. Interesting. Ooh.
this
Yeah.
poison stuff, then you actually have to keep yourself on top.
Right.
Oh,
Ow. Mm.
I'm having a hard time. What's going on here? A spider is not want to be killed. Come on. What? I think I'm gonna die. I can't talk and play at the same time, and
Right.
it's too hard. I'm dying.
It's just too hard. No, it's fine.
No, it's totally doable. But I'm not going. I'm afraid of the spider now. I'm not going down there anymore. Just advancing this path here. And when I'm here, I can show something else as well. So the levels are designed that you can play them multiple times. So one thing is the secret mid boss that you might want to find, or additional weapons that you want to look for, and these are that's what these stones are for. So these are warp stones, and once you have, they're always in pairs, and you have to find the one that is deeper in the level to move backwards once, and once you've moved backward, you can also move forward.
Yeah.
I think that's actually exactly like in Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie. There were like magic pots from the witch. I don't know if you can remember that, but they were like cauldrons where you can jump in and move through the level as well. So
Huh.
that's kind of
That sounds
similar to
familiar.
that.
Yeah, I've noticed this though. It looks like those enemies know where you are, even if you're like way up above. They kind of just knew where you were and attacked you as soon as you fell.
Yeah, they have they have a C area and a hear radius. So if you in the hear radius and you move, they will be detecting you as well.
Right.
So even if they maybe cannot see you.
That's interesting. Does the ghost do damage?
Only to very small things. So like spiders, for example, they can also be killed by the ghost. And but this bluish guy that you just see before,
Yeah.
all that they're like phantoms, and they're traveling through dimensions, and they're using like a mask with a crystal on it. And if I would just approach such a phantom, then I couldn't kill them with my weapons because, well, they're phantoms. And so what you need to do is to attack them with your ghost friend first, to kind of materialize them and kind of bring them into this world, and then you'll be able to kill them. But the ghost really doesn't do damage, but he can stun enemies, so that's pretty helpful during the fight.
Right.
I need to concentrate a bit. Oh, I should concentrate.
Nice. Iframes, buddy. Iframes. Very nice.
No, come on. Can't do it. Moving over. And here we go.
Nice. Hey, there's you again.
Yeah, that's me again. I think, yeah, he asked if I like the game so far, and I'm just gonna pick I'm not impressed now. So I'm gonna ask. So yeah, if you want to give input to the state of the game, then just join Discord and we'll have a discussion about it. That's totally interesting. Always to hear feedback from players.
Yeah.
So
Bon
let's
voyage.
let's hop back to the hub area because yeah, we've got a bit of money and now we could buy stronger weapons, for example, because whenever you finish a level, new weapons get unlocked in the store. If you found new weapons, they are available in the store as well. And the same is true for equipment, so
Right.
your gear. So I'm just gonna buy the flame set now. And
Nice. Does that give you
here's
resistance to fire?
yeah, exactly.
Can you
Exactly.
do you stay cool whenever you're in a hot volcano? Kind of like in Zelda?
Yeah, there's no heat damage, but yeah, it's similar to that. And here's just an example. Leif is quite small. He's not a kid anymore, but he is almost a kid. And so everyone is kind of making fun of his size, that he's too small and maybe not strong enough to be a hero. And that's kind of a bit of the theme of the game. So I mentioned that his brother is stronger, and he's the hero type, and Leif is kind of looking up to him and wants to be like him to get all the attention as well. And the game tells a story that that this is not what you really need to look for. So it's not that you need to be like someone else to be recognized, but it's more like that you have to find your own way, and that you might have to rely on others, like a friend, like a good friend, to cooperate with him, and that together you can be strong even if your physique is maybe not the strongest. Or there are a ton of other examples that yeah, kind of tell a similar story.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I don't know. What do you say? Should I just go into the other area as well, or what do you reckon?
That's fine. If you want to share a little more, we can do that.
Okay, I'm just go a tiny bit into it.
Okay.
By the way, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's totally worth talking to this pig.
Gotcha. Talk to the pig. All right. I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the other area, and this is again a cutscene that kind of pushes the story forward, but we will not pursue this quest. But speaking of quests, right now there's only this map in the game, but right now there's like a journal in development. This will kind of help you keeping track of the quests that you're working on. Let me show the stun thing. So I can stun the bat or a stun skeleton for a while, and then take the time to attack. And there's something else the ghost can do. So whenever I get hit, then I lose the heart, and if I quick enough, and come on, hit me one more time, so I can then release the heart while it's flying up.
Right.
Okay, now I was
So
concentrating so much on releasing the heart that I didn't really watch my health. But the idea is that you can bring back health again. So
right.
But it's quite tough, and it requires good timing and being a bit careful, more careful than I am.
Yeah. I imagine it's easier if somebody else is playing as the ghost, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is another challenge of having a co-op mode that is not... I mean, a lot of games, they change when you move into the co-op mode, but Leif's Adventure is not changing, so enemies stay as hard as they were before, and there are not more enemies, not fewer, stuff like that. So kind of keeping the balance of keeping the game playable for one player and also engaging and fun for two player. That's a thin line, and
Yeah.
also challenging from a game design standpoint. But um, yeah, I think it works quite well in most instances.
Right.
Let me see if I can kill that guy with that stone over here. Come on. Oh, okay, that was not clever.
Oh, well, he's angry.
Yeah, yeah, but not angry enough to attack me. Come on. No, oh, and this was too early, but it could have worked.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, it
all
just
right.
rolled over him. Perfect.
Yeah, weird.
It was like getting run over by a Zamboni or something. It's just real slow. Just
Yeah.
moving real slow.
Maybe it was rolling over his big toe, so and that was harmful enough for him to kill
Yeah,
that
I
guy.
mean,
Oh,
I've had my big toe, stubbed before. You know what? It's not pleasant.
all right. See,
It's fair.
so it's rooted in reality. That's good. That's
It's
very
good.
good.
It's good. Yeah.
Here's another thing that I'm pretty sure you miss if you play the game first, but you have to look out so you can see that there's like
Yeah.
sparkling thing. And if you kind of
Oh
attack
wow.
them, you find things. In this case, you have to make sure that when it drops, it doesn't drop to the lava, and there are
Right.
ways to do that, but yeah. So yeah, definitely make sure to look out and also use your ears. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's like wind.
Yeah.
So if you get closer here, but that's
Yeah.
most often a sign that
Really?
there's
That's
maybe
interesting.
something behind it. In that case,
Wow. Yeah, that's clever. I like that. Hearing wind means that there's potentially a secret hidden in like the walls and such. That's kind of
yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
way
so
people aren't just like hitting every single wall like I do whenever I'm playing Hollow Knight. Instead, it's you actually hear a cue and it's like, okay, now I
yeah,
know there's something around.
yeah, exactly. So these were the Phantom warriors again here. So they, oh, that he just killed himself. That's very unthankful for that because this area is quite tricky. All right. So I'm gonna get rid of the wooden sword and pick up this guy's sword. And yet, this is another interesting thing because it's one of the upgrade shrines, so you can learn a new skill here.
Cool.
And this one is the power bomb. So you don't need the trick that you mentioned before with your hammer and then falling down with your hammer, but you can do like this, which kind of is
Right.
has the same impact, so to
Yeah.
speak. So yeah, while I'm rising up here, with this balloon plant, I'd say this is about what I wanted to show because I really don't want to show everything because
Yeah.
what I would prefer is that people download the demo and play the demo, maybe even in co-op. So if you have two controllers,
Yeah.
try the co-op mode. It's just hitting start and switching to two-player. I don't have connected two controllers. So.
That's pretty cool, though. Nice. Yeah, that's a neat little platformer puzzle. Trying to go up with the balloon and not get it popped.
Exactly. And each level has its own mechanism. So this balloon plant thing is only in this level, and yeah, there's a focus for each level. So they should be quite diverse as well.
Yeah.
Eh, ouch. Now. Okay, I can't stop playing, obviously.
That's all right. Well,
All right.
oh boy. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's see what we got. We've got. Let's go ahead and put us back into the grid mode. Um, was that all you wanted to share with us in the game?
Uh,
It-
yeah, I'd
yeah.
say. I mean, I just simply can advance and we just go through whatever you had planned, and then just play a bit casually here. I hope I don't die too often
That's
doing
all right.
that.
I was, I was figuring we'll go ahead and start the end of the stream here. We've got
All right. Yeah. So I'm
oh,
quitting the screen sharing.
okay, sure.
Cool.
So how did the idea of the story come about though, for the game?
Um, Now let me quickly.
Nope, we lost him. We lost him, folks. He is out of here. Let's see if we can get him back. Up there he is.
Used F4, Alt F4 on the wrong window. Sorry for that.
Right. No
I'm back.
worries. No worries.
I wanted to quit the game, not the chat.
Right, right. Let's see.
How did the story came to be? So
Yeah.
I wanted to
You
have.
can share your camera if you could.
Oh yeah. Let me figure out where the button is. Down here. All
There it
right.
is.
Back in color.
That's it.
Um, I wanted to have. I wanted to kind of transport a topic that is kind of important to almost every person that I know, and it's kind of having like the feeling for not being good enough for achieving something. So I really have the feeling that not a lot of people talk about that thing that
Mm-hmm.
you maybe when you're a kid you're afraid not to be good enough for school or for mastering, I don't know, a certain thing in school, or not good in sports, or I don't know, if you start dating or stuff, you feel that you're not good enough for whatever you want to achieve, or then later in a job or some. So everyone has struggles in their lives, and it's nothing that yeah you talk a lot about. So I really wanted to keep that as a topic of my game. So that's why Leif is not your typical Marvel hero with special
Mm-hmm.
abilities and everyone looks up to him. He's more like Peter Parker, not like Spider-Man. So if you want to keep the Marvel
Right.
idea, and still he will find his way during the game. So he will um, live up to not to his expectations, maybe, because that's maybe something that is another topic that often people tend to expect too much from themselves, and they have a higher bar from themselves than they have for other persons, for example. And so I really want to have that in the game. So this is kind of this subline that kind of carries the whole story a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everything else is kind of built on top of it. I'm not really a story writer, so that's not really my background. So I had to learn a few things, how to kind of build up a story that it kind of um, stays interesting and stuff like that. But that was the main idea behind it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's so it's a bit of a coming of age story, growing up,
Yes, somewhat, yeah.
seeing what skills that he has that he can offer the world, as opposed to just picturing all of the other people and what they're good at, but
Yeah,
instead
exactly.
finding your own strength, kind of thing. That's
Yeah, and
cool.
it's also just because you admire someone else and you look up to someone else, it's not that everyone around you expect you to become like the other person.
Yeah.
It's just that you wanted to be, maybe in this case, Leif wants to be like his older brother, but not the people around expect him to be like his older brother. So
Right.
it's also like a question of how do I really um yeah, how do I think that people, yeah, it's the image that I have from myself and the image that others have from yourself, and what do they expect from you, and what do you yourself expect from yourself. So that's kind of the baseline of the story. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Roman, thank you so much for showing up for the show. Is there anything you want to share or someone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, let me first say thank you for having me. It was a
Yeah.
blast. It was pretty cool chatting with you. Yeah, so always pretty cool to have like a gamer that is a gamer at heart and loves to talk about it. So thank
Mhm.
you for all of that. And yeah, I'll
Thank
just
you.
give a shout out to everyone that kind of supports me. So I mean, there it
Sure.
starts from my wife. She's kind of keeping a lot of stuff from my back, and but until to every last one that kind of puts the game on the wish list, because that helps as well. So a big
Mhm.
shout out to everyone that kind of supports me and Leaf's adventure. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, Roman, I appreciate you. Everyone, if you liked what you saw here and you want to see more, go ahead and wish list the game. Or, better yet, for me, if you want to subscribe to me, that'd be good too, just saying.
Yeah,
Uh, all of the links are in the description below if you want to see the game or try it out for yourself. Download the demo. Links in the description. It's all on Steam. Should be coming out in within the first, you said you think it
yeah,
might be
Q1 next
Q1
year. Yeah,
next year. Cool, exciting. So we don't know when. We're not going to say that's a guarantee, but wish list it. Make sure it's on your list. Yeah. Um,
perfect.
everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye bye.